when he walked out of Madison Square Garden, it was f***ing bananas.
Really?
It was, the whole place was cheering. He walks out to Kid Rock's American Badass with Kid Rock.
What do you think of the new leadership, Jasmine, AOC, and Bernie?
I consider Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez to be the leader of the Democratic Party. She's entitled to her opinion. I'm entitled to mine. As I've said about her before, I think she's the reason there are directions on a shampoo bottle.
Yes, I don't know if you've seen the complete videos. I'm going to show you. We are going to talk about Trump. He walked in and the crowd went crazy. Libras are not having it after seeing what is going on. This just clearly tells me that some of these people are insane, because the more they struggle to criticize, bring down Trump, this is what I see every single day. AIC went on stage, oh, Trump is a criminal, he's this, he's that. When I look at that video, I felt tired. Before even going to that, take a look at this.
What do you think of the new leadership, Jasmine, AOC, and Bernie?
I consider Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez to be the leader of the Democratic Party. She's entitled to her opinion. I'm entitled to mine. As I've said about her before, I think she's the reason there are directions on a shampoo bottle. And our plan for dealing with her...
You didn't plan that out. We got to hurry.
Our plan for dealing with her is called Operation Let Her Speak.
Also, you know, the other way I think you can think about it is that we are, you know, perhaps we are in the downfall of the broken way. This was not built to last. Inequity, injustice is not built to last. It lasts a long time. It could last hundreds of years, but ultimately it crumbles into this, you know, a small cohort of incompetent people that create damage. And from that, something new can spring.
Meanwhile,
with a capital B.
Last night, President Trump held basically a cabinet meeting at a UFC fight. He took an entire entourage.
CNN's Donnie O'Sullivan got in the cage with former UFC star turned podcaster Jake Shields to explore the manosphere and why exactly it's so popular.
They speak liberal, they have liberal friends, and then they go online and they are a white supremacist.
This is Vera Papasova. She spent the last year dating far-right men in New York City for a story for Cosmopolitan magazine.
They're the most insecure men I've ever sat down with. It was really difficult to have some of these dates because they were so insecure, because they don't really know who they are and they don't know how to figure that out.
She said the men she dated got all their news and information from the so-called manosphere.
They did not listen to anything else. They're only listening to independent media, and they're only listening to men. They love the UFC guys. They love the MMA guys because those guys do what they can. They're modern gladiators. They're badass.
Badass like Jake Shields, a former UFC star turned podcaster.
All right. Now I'm starting to feel nervous. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, of course.
Who I met at an MMA gym in Las Vegas.
Like all great MMA pros. I've never hit anyone in my life.
I'm not punching back. Hit me. No, I sit right here. KO.
This is CNN. Do you miss being full-time pro, like in terms of?
Yeah, you know, of course I miss it. To go from professional athlete, which is the highest of highs, to retirement.
And I guess the
podcast has helped. You could fall into depression if you just go from the most amazing career where you're famous and spotlights to all of a sudden you're a nobody.
Sure.
Like other podcasters in the manosphere, Jake regularly hosts controversial guests.
And I named the podcast Fighting Back. I feel like we have to fight back what we're told we're allowed to do. I just don't don't like to told you're not allowed to talk to this person. Like, why can't I talk to him? I'm not saying I agree with his ideology, but I should hear what he has to say.
He's hosted the former Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan.
Today I have a very, very special guest, Dr. David Duke. I knew you're controversial, but I had no idea how controversial.
And Thomas Russo, the leader of the white supremacist group Patriot Front.
Let's go where we disagree a little bit.
Yes, sure.
Let's hit race, because you're a white-only group?
So the organization only allows people of American ethnicity, and all Americans, I believe, come from Europe, so they're white.
The true heirs of the American spirit fight on!
Yeah, no, I understand and talk to these guys, but I've also not brought anyone hateful. If I do, I'm going to be really, really on top of them.
But so you saying that you haven't brought someone hateful on, right? People will say, well, you brought on the Grand Wizard of the KKK, you brought on Patriot Front.
Yeah.
They're hateful.
No, I think those are excellent questions, but if people go and watch the actual interviews, I think they would be like, oh, this guy's not near as hateful as if I expect it.
But Vera says hate isn't what the men she dated were really looking for.
One of these guys brought me to a political meeting.
And did they talk about politics?
Barely. They talked about, it was a bunch of men complaining about girlfriends and wives, regurgitating Andrew Tate type of advice about how to train your girlfriend, how to train your wife to be submissive. And so this group was supposed to be a political group, but they're talking about relationship problems.
The mainstream media picked this part out like Trump ignored RFK's wife. That is what I saw on social media.
And they meet the president.
That's right.
And they like him. Or we know people and we go, I wish you could meet him because he's not the guy you think he is. Here's Dana White talking about that phenomena around Donald Trump.
So the first thing that happens is Bill Maher walks in into the Oval Office, and me and the president were in there, and he has a piece of paper with every name that the president has called him over the last, however many years. There were like 100 names on this list, and it was hilarious. Thank God he had two of them, because I had them both sign it, and I'm getting it framed and hanging it in my office. But I think the coolest thing about that meeting and that dinner was two guys who have not liked each other for a very long time, two guys who have many opposing views, got together and sat down and talked, and they talked about a lot of things that they agree on and a lot of things that they disagree on. But Kid Rock and I always say, and you know this better than anybody, nobody walks into a meeting or a dinner with Donald Trump and walks out and doesn't like him. It's impossible. And if you say you don't, you're lying.
Yes, this actually clarifies people who doubt who Trump is. I think I've done a couple of videos about Bima's visit to the White House and share some clips how liberals are reacting to it. They don't like the idea. Bima did that, and it has opened up a conversation on social media. If these people can really unite people, this is a time for people to hear. I don't care if you belong to any political party, the fact that Trump is there, he is your president. You cannot change that. So when I see people still grumbling about that, there is no campaign again. So what exactly are you actually doing?
Turn me around and no, turn me around and no, turn me around, ain't gonna let no white supremacy turn me around. Keep on walking, keep on talking, marching up to freedom land. Ain't gonna let those lousy billionaires turn me around and no, turn me around and no, turn me around. Ain't gonna let those lousy billionaires turn me around. Keep on walking, keep on talking, marching up to freedom land.
When I see Luna Fish coming out to listen to all these speeches, it gets me so upset. It's crazy, right? What I'm observing now, real people and these crazy ones agreeing with all this Benny saying here. When you look at Trump, you can see the number of people coming out. You see the love.
Ocasio-Cortez. It is our top story tonight. Welcome to the Fox 7 Weekend News at 5. Their supporters called it a revolution. Thousands of them were there for hours in the heat.
And Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders here on their nationwide tour called Fight Oligarchy. Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency.
The oligarchy will concede nothing.
At a time where the leader of the Democratic Party is in question, there's about 40,000 people here supporting AOC and Sanders.
Yes, I don't see any new thing with this rally struggling to say, oh, they have 40,000 people in a deep blue state like this. Even President Trump did this in places like this. I don't see them offering anything new. They are just saying the old things we all know the same. So I don't see any significance of this. If Trump comes out now to do campaigns again or to do some kind of rallies like this, people would turn out more than this. So I don't know why they're struggling to make this like a big something. Thank you guys who has been there sharing out my videos. God bless you abundantly. If you see any clips after this, that is just for the YT algorithm.
The only one it could be is Bernie Sanders.
We are moving in the direction of oligarchy.
Elon Musk tweeting this video ahead of the rally with clips of Sanders discussing threats of oligarchy more than 30 years ago.
Well, Elon, you're damn right. That's what I've been talking about.
As you know, 12 days ago, I just wanted to report.
It would be hard to think of a more elegant way to...
How much is enough money?
Rating, and that would ordinarily... would. I know better than anybody. Forget about...
Wish.
And
a lot of people who didn't vote.
And finally, new rule to those on the right.
Isn't exactly getting...
Hoped against hope. Brad Schimmel, that has included Elon...
Saw repudiation. Everybody, he had...